I have a super interesting story about big data, about so-called metadata that our associate producer Rachel has been looking into. Twitter. I'm sorry, it's not Tweeter. Twitter. Twitter is that old car stereo chain. Remember Twitter, Lewis? That was a cool place to hang out. Twitter has a feature that lets you geolocate your tweets. So when you go to post, you hit a little location button and you can include your location in tweets. And this is off by default, but a lot of Twitter users like to use it. So then with the tweet, you see a little indicator of where the tweet was sent from. Researchers at CSAIL and Oxford decided to look into this, and relatively unsophisticated internet users can, with pretty good accuracy, figure out people's homes and workplaces based on as few as 8 posts in a day with geolocation. Let's take a look at a quote from the study here that we have. Many people have this idea that only machine learning techniques can discover interesting patterns in location data. This is according to Ilaria Licciardi, a research scientist and one of the authors on the paper. And she goes on to say, and they feel secure that not everyone has the technical knowledge to do that. With this study, what we wanted to show is that when you send location data as a secondary piece of information, it is extremely simple for people with very little technical knowledge to find out where you work or live. So they brought in study participants and they gave them tweets along with these geolocation bits of data. And just using Google and some basic free online tools and the data from the tweets, with pretty good certainty, a lot of these relatively unsophisticated web users were able to figure out where is it likely that this person lives and where is it likely that this person works with pretty good location data. What do you think? I mean, are you surprised by this based on what we know about metadata?
Not at all. You could really do the same thing with Facebook very easily, with people tagging themselves in around at certain places. It does seem very easy to do. And so I don't think people will really be surprised by this. I mean, you at this day and age, I feel that most even somewhat technically savvy people know that they are doing so at their peril.
People in the study did better with 8 posts per day versus 4 posts per day of data. They did better at finding out people's homes and workplaces with 5 days worth of data versus 3 days worth of data. And with the map-based, when shown on a map, the geolocation spots from people's posts, 2/3 of the time, these are, again, relatively unsophisticated internet users, 2/3 of the time, they were able to figure out where Twitter users live. Now, I assume people who live in cities, it will be harder, because even if you can pin it down to within 1 block, there could be thousands of people living in that block in big city buildings, etc. But the big takeaway for me is when we're told by the NSA or whoever, it's just metadata. There's nothing identifiable. There's no doubt that that's not true. And we've talked about the trials, Lewis, where people were given just phone numbers, really just metadata about someone's interactions, no specific information. And only slightly more sophisticated individuals were able to, a lot of the time, figure out who it was that the metadata was associated with. So don't fall for it. Do not fall. Now, we can have a conversation where people could disagree about whether we should or shouldn't be collecting metadata, whether it's useful, whether it's ethical, whether it's legal. But in order to have that conversation in a meaningful way, we have to realize that when we hear it's just metadata, there's nothing just about it. You can figure out who people are from metadata.
Well, in the world we live in now, Dave, and the world of advertising, metadata is like everything, right?
Absolutely.
And so the collection of metadata is happening by even the companies no one would ever expect it from. It's pretty much unavoidable. Now, I suppose government metadata collection, spying, that type of thing is a bit different, but the data is being collected.
I don't use the geolocation on my tweets. Sometimes when I will post an Instagram picture, I will post, like, for example, for location, I'll put Boston, Massachusetts, or if it was taken at a particular venue, like a public venue, I'll put that on. But whenever I'm asked about turning on my location with Facebook or whatever, I always just say no.
Yeah, same here. What's the point?